Now, after 40 years on air, CITV will close next month as ITV moves the children's channel online. The decision marks the end of an era for generations of children who tuned into shows like Nightmare, Funhouse and Children's Ward. Responding to declining viewing figures and the popularity of online platforms, CITV will be replaced by digital service ITVX Kids. Campaigners say the move will impact the quality of children's programming being produced in the UK. ITV says ITVX Kids will supercharge its presence in streaming, doubling its current kids content offering with more than 100 shows and over 1,000 hours of programming, including comedy, game show, live action, animation and sport. Joining me in a moment to discuss this is the children's presenter and author Philippa Forrester. But first, here's a reminder of what CITV was all about.
Hello, Children's ITV here.
Back on Button Moon, Mr. Spoon.
Whack-a-day, whack-a-day, whack-a-day.
Look out for Super Guy!
There's somebody at the door. Oh, there's somebody at the door.
Kill! Side step to your left.
And if you disturb me one more time talking about newspapers, you're gonna end up a smoky hole in the floor, okay?
And here's poor old Sooty trying to show them the bedroom, but his voice isn't loud enough.
The Chaos Crew, they're here.
Thunderbirds are go on CITV.
Well, Philippa Forrester presented children's BBC in the early 90s, appearing in the legendary Broom Cupboard alongside characters such as Ed the Duck. She's a broadcaster and children's author, and she joins me now. We are so chuffed to have you. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm reminiscing about all those shows I used to watch. I'm not that old, really.
We all do, because they mean something to us, right?
Absolutely.
We have a special place in our hearts for all the programmes we used to watch.
I mean, just tell me a bit about what you were saying earlier to me when we were talking just before we came on air, that, you know, for you, sitting down at home on the sofa with your family, watching terrestrial TV, watching some of those shows, it felt like a community event, it felt like a family event, precious time.
So much so. I mean, it's an extension of when we all used to sit around the fire telling stories, right? But it's something that we share, and especially with children's television, there is that precious time. There's that downtime of escape into stories, of learning about stories, lots of fun, lots of humour. Danger Mouse, great example. But there's that sense of community, a shared experience. And you can go into school the next day and everybody's watched the same thing. You can talk to somebody on a plane and they've watched the same thing, or waiting in line somewhere and they've watched the same thing. And it's that sense, I think, that the BBC does particularly well, but CITV the same. Scheduled programming gives us that. It gives us that shared experience in a moment in time, and even creates, especially for children, our routines. Saturday morning was switch-off time, cartoons, and then having fun, like a big club, like joining a big club.
But viewing figures have gone down for terrestrial TV. We know across the board, it's now going online. I mean, you do see children sitting on their beds, sitting on the sofa with their digital devices, you know, watching things on those rather than watching the TV. So is this not just going with the times?
We have a paradigm shift in my own house. You know, I have always been in love with television and what it can do, and, you know, being at an event. My children, particularly my 20-year-old and down, they don't get, why would you switch on the TV to watch something that somebody else has decided? What? And I can talk about the art of the scheduler till I'm blue in the face, but they don't get that. Why would you do that? We can watch it anytime. I'll call upstairs, guess what's on? Well, yeah, we can watch it later.
And that's changed for children as well, do you think? I mean,
Very
they're
much
making
so.
their own decisions as to what they watch and when.
Very much so. I think it's become almost foreign. But then for younger children, again, routine is so important. The art of the scheduler also involved a lovely, deft combination of education and entertainment and reassurance closer to bedtime and all of those, nice things that involved.
I mean, talking about television, because obviously I remember when you were on, and live TV is unpredictable. Are we seeing an end to that in this new age?
I think that's part of the loss. Not just the sense of occasion and event, but the sense that something can go wrong, and that's great. Because if it goes wrong, it's even funnier. If it goes wrong, it proves it's live. If it goes wrong, it's another moment that we're all sharing together. So I think that's part of the loss, is that sense of just joining in to something that's slightly chaotic. I mean, Tomorrow's World was a great example of it's always better when things go wrong.
Absolutely.
Especially when it was live.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to talk to us about this. We really appreciate it. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Wishing you a very nice evening. Good night.